All right, so after literal hours of running updates and troubleshooting and bug fixing on my brand new ROG Ally, it is finally ready to go. That was a miserable experience, but I think we're through it. So what I want to test out now is the gaming performance. And what I have is the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck right next to each other, and they are both charged to 100%, 100%, and 100%. And what we're going to do is we're going to run Elden Ring on both of them, see how they work. We're gonna run a few other games too, but we're gonna start with Elden Ring. Also, we have the screen brightness maxed out on both devices, because this is also going to be a battery test. I'm going to unplug both of them. You can't tell, but the Steam Deck is plugged in to its stock charger, and so is the ROG Ally. So just while running the tests, it'll also be a battery test, because I'll just unplug them at the same time. And without further ado, let's go. So we got Elden Ring. Let's see, Elden Ring. Okay, let's get that on screen. The real-time monitor, there we go. And you can see it's operating in 30-watt turbo mode. And we're just going to do, we're gonna hit continue and continue. Press any button and continue. And first I just kind of wanna see, I know what the Steam Deck is capable as far as frame rate goes, because I have played a lot of hours on the Steam Deck with Elden Ring. I think over 100 hours on the Steam Deck playing Elden Ring. So I'm pretty familiar with how it works. And when we boot in, you can see, oh, and I'm gonna unplug power right now. Unplugged on the Steam Deck and unplugged on the ROG Ally. Okay, great. Now let's just make sure that's still running in the performance. It's running in performance, turbo. Yeah, we want it in turbo. So it won't go up to that 30-watt mode because it's not plugged in anymore, but it will go up to a 25-watt mode. So now we're just gonna see, let's try and get our settings as similar as we can. I don't know what this is set to, so let's check. Oh yeah, and this is a bummer. I just got my ROG Ally today, and I got sent a defective unit where my left bumper does not work, so that sucks. I'll have to take it in and get it fixed. And look at that, its default settings is it's going 1280 by 720, but it's at high. So we're gonna leave the 1280 by 720 because that's pretty close to the Steam Deck's, although the Steam Deck is 16 by 10, so it's a slightly different resolution. But we're just gonna drop this down to low at 720p, and let's just see what the Steam Deck is running this at. On the Steam Deck, my buttons do work. Custom. Oh, it's also running at 1280 by 720. Perfect. And we're just gonna put it on low, just so we have an apples to apples comparison. And it looks like the ROG, no, it's good. I thought it was hung for a second, but it is good. So we'll go back into here, go to Elden Ring. But while this is loading, let's just look. This is 720p at everything low settings. And you can see we're getting about 45, there 42, but it looks like it's averaging mid 40 FPS, at least in this area. And I will say Elden Ring is a very difficult game to run for the Steam Deck. And also, depending on where you're at in the map or what you're doing, on like which type of fight you're doing, that frame rate varies a lot. But we're just gonna go into the same place, and so on each device, so it should be more consistent. Okay, it says Elden Ring is running, but it didn't pop up. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna hit continue. We'll boot in and hopefully it'll come. It's coming from the same save point, so it should be at the same spot. And all right, Limgrave. Now this is surprising to me. Let's just make sure, did I not change the settings? If we go over, we are at 1280 by 720 and at low. So that's the same as the Steam Deck. Let's just double check that because I'm not crazy. 1280, 720 low. But the Steam Deck is averaging mid 40s and the ROG Ally is also averaging mid 40s. And they're in the exact same spot. I mean, like close enough. What is going on here? That is so weird. I thought the Ally was gonna smash the Steam Deck as far as performance, or at least I was hoping it was gonna do well. And also, just to add fuel to the fire, which is a negative against the Ally, which is that this is running at 25 watts, but right here it says the APU is pulling 30 watts, whereas the Steam Deck, I mean, the entire thing is pulling 26 watts, but the Steam Deck is maxing out at 15 watts. And then you can see the GPU is at 8 watts and the CPU is at 4 watts. So this is sucking dramatically more power to get basically the same performance. Not dramatically more power, but significantly more power. So that's a bummer. All right, so I'm not sure why the ROG Ally isn't getting better performance. If you know, let me know. That is very weird. There it got up to 50 for a second, but the Steam Deck is at 47, so I mean, yeah, pretty well the same. I'm surprised that it's not better, but whatever, it is what it is. Okay, so that's Elden Ring. I would say Elden Ring, that's a huge win for the Steam Deck because it's using less wattage for the same performance, or at least very similar performance. Yeah. Bummer for the ROG Ally. And all right, we're gonna exit out of this and we will try a different game. And I've noticed it seems like the Ally is not as good at quitting out of games. It really takes its time. So anyway, but that doesn't really matter that much. The next game, let's try No Man's Sky. All right, now they're both booted in. Let's play game. We have to click and hold, load, play game, load. They're loading from the same save, so it should be pretty similar. And they got off, I did start this second, so we'll see if the Steam Deck loads in slower. Now that's interesting. The Steam Deck looks like it's loading in faster, and it's definitely, look at this, the Ally's at 20 FPS and the Steam Deck's at 35. It is very noticeable, the difference between the two. Wow. Okay, I did not expect this. From what I've seen, the ROG Ally is supposed to have up to double the performance of the Steam Deck, at least when you're running at these higher wattages, which, keep in mind, we are running at turbo mode, which is 25 watts. So on battery, that's as high as you can run it, as far as I'm aware. Okay, and the Steam Deck loaded in first, which I have no idea why it would have loaded in first because I started it like a second later, but it did. Okay, so now we're on the same. What is going on? We are on the same. Oh yeah, I haven't checked the settings yet. Okay, let's check the settings. Okay, it's running at 1080, so I'm gonna drop that down to 720 because that's what the Steam Deck will be running at. As far as FPS, I'm gonna take the maximum FPS up, just so the FPS limit isn't the problem. For VSync, I'm going to turn it off. Resolution scaling is off. Standard, everything's on standard. Base complexity is on enhanced. That's just its default. The Steam Deck did the same thing. I don't know what GTAO is, but motion blur, we're going to turn that off too. Okay, now let's just double check that we have the same settings on the Steam Deck. And it's at 720, VSync off, FPS cap, no cap. Oh, I put everything on standard on that, so I did drop that down, okay. And I turned GTAO off, which I don't know what that is, but I'll turn it off also. So, okay, applied. We didn't change anything on here, but applied. Now let's back out, we'll back out. So both the settings are exactly the same now with the two. And what is going on? Okay, the Steam Deck has 72 FPS, 73, 72, and the Ally has 58. That is really weird. I don't know why that would be the case. It's still at the turbo mode, right? It's still on turbo mode. Okay, let's just move around, see. Ooh, the vibrations are kind of nice in this. They're a little bit, they're not very subtle, but it still feels kind of nice. And this is choppy. We're running at, looks like 49, there's 51. Okay, and let's just try the Steam Deck. Yeah, when it started going, there's no vibration, and actually the vibration in here does feel pretty nice. there's a dip to the 30s. Both of them are having pretty solid dips, but it's averaging more like 70s, low 70s, high 60s, whereas the Ally is averaging more like high 50s. Oh man, the A, did you guys see that? My A button just got stuck down. That's not good. This is brand new. There's nothing on it. Okay, so I don't love the buttons, but okay, it doesn't seem to be happening now, so I guess that's okay. But wow, I am shocked. Now, that being said, let's line this up so we can see the exact same stuff on both, because I think it'll come across on camera, I hope. Wait, let's see, it's that hill. Which is that there. That's like basically the same. I hope it comes across well on camera. Here, I'll adjust the exposure. But I will say the ROG Ally screen does look much better. The colors pop a little bit more. The reds seem more red, more vibrant, more saturated. It does look nicer on here. That's another test where the Steam Deck is in performance, in performance mode on the ROG Ally. I mean, it's unplugged, so it's not getting its full 30 or 35 watt performance, but in performance mode, the Steam Deck is still outperforming the Ally. Like, we're getting, again, this is mid 70s, and the Ally's getting high 50s. So that is crazy to me. That is absolutely insane, but it is what it is. All right, let's go try a different game. So far, man, the Steam Deck is really doing well. I swear, I've watched reviews on both these devices, and I was expecting the Ally to get significantly better performance, because that's what I've seen other people get online. But so far, that is not my experience. Okay, now let's try, what game should we try? World War Z Aftermath. And also, the battery is not looking great for the Ally already, because while they both start out at 100% about 15 minutes ago, the Ally is now at 80%, whereas the Steam Deck is at 86%. And these are kind of worst case battery scenarios, because I have the screen brightness maxed out and we're also running demanding games. But while I would say that, yeah, it's kind of worst case scenario, it's also not unrealistic. This is exactly how I use my Steam Deck basically every day, which is I do play these more demanding games, and I pretty much always have the screen brightness maxed out. So while it's tough on the batteries, I don't think it's unrealistic at all. And on this one, I'm gonna have to, I think I do have this set to limit the frame rate. So we're gonna turn that off on the Steam Deck. There we go. Okay, unlimited frame rate. The Ally says warming up shader cache. It might take a few minutes because, you know, it's the first time it's booted the game. While the Ally is warming up the shader caches, let's just go into the settings, and we are going to be putting FPS limit. We don't want an FPS limit. We're gonna put everything on, how about let's put it on high. And then, yeah, and then we will, luckily this game has an onboard benchmark. So now that everything, why is it on custom? You need to be on high. There we go, everything's on high. Settings, can I move this? Oh, that's nice. I wish I could move the Steam Deck one. All right, let's go to video, set FPS unlimited, and we want it on high. There, it's on high. I will apply that, and now we just need to check what our resolution is. We're gonna drop our resolution on the Ally down to 720. Now, you should know that this is running at a slightly higher resolution of 1280 by 800 because it's a taller aspect ratio. And there, we have applied that new resolution, applied that. Okay, so now they're set to the exact same settings. Now we're going to start the benchmark at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Okay, starting the benchmark on both of them at the same time. Now let's see. Okay, the ROG Ally loaded a bit faster, and I should say both of these games are both being stored on their internal drives, not on an external SSD. And the Steam Deck is getting an average of 60 FPS, like on the dot, and that looks like it's being locked at 60. The ROG Ally is getting a max of 92, but an average of 60. So it's slightly higher than the Steam Deck, but that could also just be because the FPS is locked at 60 on the Steam Deck, and I don't seem able to unlock it. But look at that. Look at this. The Ally is pulling at 38 watts right now compared to the Steam Deck's 26. So that's significant. And considering, you need to remember, they have the exact same size internal battery. So yeah, the Ally is going to be draining that battery like crazy. And okay, average FPS on the Ally, 63. Average FPS on the Steam Deck, 55. Wow. So almost the same. Yeah, about 10% better, maybe 15% better on the Ally. But I was expecting it to be significantly better. That's kind of sad. All right, so we're gonna back out. So that's 3 games. This is the first game where the Ally has actually performed better, but it only performed about 10 to 15% better. So it's a win, but it's not a great win. Okay, let's try booting up Apex Legends on both. Okay, there we go. Apex Legends is now working. Except it's launched in a weird, I don't know if you can see it. Obviously there's the bar up top, but then it's also got that sliver of screen down there. So it's not running in full screen for whatever reason. Cool. Back. Okay, let's just check settings. We need to we need to change the settings. It's running at 1080, so we're gonna drop that down to 720. Windowed, we want full screen, 16:9. VSync disabled. And it is texture streaming budget high. It's running on all high, it looks like. So, you know what, we'll apply that. And it did not set. What is up with this? Okay, didn't work. Okay. Want full screen, apply. And you can tell, okay, that time, yes. That time it did work. So now let's check our settings. And you can see, okay, we're running at full screen, 720p. Everything on high. Everything on high. Man, I will say though, while this loads in, the colors look way better on this screen. The Steam Deck screen is totally okay and it's usable, and especially if you install Vibrant Deck, then it looks a lot better. But the ROG Ally is clearly, it's on a different league as far as color accuracy. And this is looking good and it's feeling pretty good. We're getting, it's a little hard to see probably. Whoa. We're getting 60 FPS. There it just jumped to 120. 60, let's just grab a gun. Can you hear that? Listen to this. Well, the little vibration motors are going crazy. It actually feels kind of cool though. Pick up. Okay, they replenish. All right, so looks like we're getting an average of somewhere in the 60 FPS, and that's on high. I mean, yes, it's at 720p, but on high, that's pretty good, and it feels good. I'm totally happy with this. Unfortunately, like I said, my left bumper does not work. Straight out of the factory, broken. So, whoa, look at this. See if I can get it to focus. 42 watts. That's gonna drain the battery, well, in an hour or in less than an hour. So that's actually kind of crazy. So first let's check our settings. 1280 by 800, that's the same resolution, and we are at all high. Okay, this is exactly what the Ally was defaulted to. We'll just have it sitting here. It's like weirdly glitching out though. I don't know if you saw that. It's definitely got a lot of room to improve as far as animations and smoothness and bugginess. But to be fair, so did the Steam Deck when it first came out. But the difference is the Steam Deck came out over a year ago and it's gotten a lot better. So today the Steam Deck is much smoother, whereas this is coming out now. And so anyway, it's just behind. It's clearly behind. Not to say it can't catch up. Okay, we'll grab the same gun and we'll grab some ammo. And we are getting, this is like 55 FPS, but it looks like we're getting mid 50s, but that's everything on high. That's actually pretty respectable. So I'm totally happy with that. And you know, it feels good. Feels really nice. I would say mid 50s, you know, for an FPS, a twitchier FPS like Apex, it's not ideal. I would say you would definitely, I personally would want to lock 60. But I'm happy with mid 50s. I'm happy with that. And what kind of wattage are we pulling? We're pulling a total of a 27, almost 28 watts. So a significant amount of wattage. But yeah, and I will say actually, the slightly taller screen does make it feel bigger, I think, to me personally. Just having that 16:10 screen versus 16:9 feels a bit bigger. So before we start, let's just check our settings. Wow, that's hard to see. Everything is quite small. We want video. Looks like everything's on high. All right, here we go. Okay, we are in the it doesn't feel, what is going on? Okay, click stick is switch. Okay, we're getting 92 FPS, 100 FPS, and this is at all high and 1080p. So this is not a hard game to run, obviously, it's pretty old, but it's running well. Reload. Oh man, sensitivity. Ooh, there we go. Okay, we're doing it. There it is. We rushed. Oh. Oh no, he's gonna get, he got me. Anyway, but now we're getting 300, but we were getting about, I would say about 80 to 100 FPS on high. So this is like totally great. Totally great performance in Counter-Strike. Wouldn't have expected any less, but I'm glad to see it. Considering this whole thing has been a shock to me. I thought the Ally was gonna do so much better than it's doing. And Counter-Strike is the first time where I've been like, yeah, it's doing pretty well. It's playing in the full resolution, 1280 by 800, that's great. Widescreen, auto to high, everything it looks like. And high is the highest. So, okay, I don't know any of the buttons. L4 to switch to an item. Okay. All right. Oh my God. Okay. It's super twitchy, but you know, I can change the sensitivity. It's just kind of funny. Let's see if I can. I think I hit him. Hey. But look at that, we're getting 100 FPS. Oh, get it. Oh man, my aim is so bad. Good news is we're getting crazy FPS, over 100 generally. Let's just see. So we had both of them running the exact same games for basically the same amount of time at the same settings. And we've been running for about 45 minutes now. About 45 minutes, so let's check on their battery. Look at that. No way. The Ally has 34% battery and the Steam Deck has 70. Definitely the Steam Deck is crushing this in battery life, which just on its surface makes sense because you have the exact same 40 watt hour battery in both of these, and yet this one is using a 30 watt APU, just the APU, whereas the Steam Deck is using a 15 watt APU. And we saw it when we looked in the performance. The Steam Deck, the maximum it was pulling was maybe 27, 28 watts, whereas the maximum I saw the Ally pull at any given time was 42 watts. So yeah, it's a significant, that's 15 watts more, which makes sense. I mean, that's basically just the APU right there by itself, 15 watts versus 30 watts. So it makes sense that the Ally drained its battery a whole lot faster. But man, you could theoretically, like if we were playing games on the Ally this whole time, you could drain it in less than an hour, for sure. For sure you could. So I would say if I was ASUS, you need to be throwing a bigger battery in that, because 45 minutes is, well, it's kind of not acceptable. And I'm someone who complained about the battery life on the Steam Deck when it came out. Since then, I've learned how to use it, and now I understand its capabilities, and I mostly play plugged in. But I was pissed because I was only getting, you know, an hour and 20 minutes in the most demanding games with the screen brightness maxed out on the Steam Deck. And the Ally, it's looking like if you were going for it, it would get maybe a half hour less than the Steam Deck, which, considering you're only talking about a little over an hour, that is significant. So the Ally does, at least based on this testing, it does need a bigger battery. And I gotta say, this is just my first round of tests, and a lot more to come on this channel, but I'm pretty disappointed with the performance. In basically all of those games, the Ally performed worse, or if not about the same, but using significantly higher wattages, and it definitely was buggier while it did it. Let me know if you have any games you want me to run in the comment section below, and I'll try and get to them. I'm gonna keep doing performance testing on these two in the next few days to come. So yeah, if you have anything you want me to perform on the Steam Deck or on the Ally, let me know, and I'll try and get to it. All right, that's it for this video. See you guys next time. Peace.